You know what I'm saying? But the thing I'm getting out of this, Roach took the fight. It gives him a chance to really.
Gervonta Davis' corner was in complete disarray during his fight against Lamont Roach, with confusion and tension evident throughout the night. Now his trainer, Calvin Ford, has finally addressed what led to the chaos, revealing Gervonta Davis, asking him to make a highly questionable move during the fight. The situation bore a striking resemblance to the turmoil in Tyson Fury's corner during his first undisputed World Heavyweight Championship clash against Alexander Usyk.
Work, and he's the champion, what's the best for him? I'm hoping that he do what I needed to do, you know what I'm saying? You see how I asked him, are you ready? You know what I'm saying? Because I need...
In Tyson Fury's fight, while he remained composed with his trainers, his father, John Fury, created chaos in the corner, constantly shouting over Andy Lee and Sugar Stewart. This ultimately led to miscommunication, with Fury misinterpreting their instructions, which may have contributed to his defeat. Gervonta Davis' situation, however, was slightly different. This time, the chaos stemmed from the fighter himself. The match was unfolding in an unexpected way, with Gervonta Davis like never before. For only the third time in his career, it looked as if you would hear the final bell after the 12th round, a scenario few had anticipated.
I can see different levels of it. This time I had a chance to step back, and everybody keeps saying, they changing us. No, we ain't changing.
This was highly unusual, considering the Baltimore native is accustomed to ending fights in the 7th, 8th, or 9th rounds. But this time, Lamont Roach was fighting back, Gervonta Davis dominating in any way. This raised concerns in his corner, and while his team tried to give him instructions, Gervonta Davis, raising his voice and yelling, "Listen to me," at Calvin Ford. His team ultimately listened, but the result was far from ideal, and it could become even worse if his draw against Roach gets overturned. Initially, his coaches remained silent when asked. Gervonta Davis outburst in the corner, assuring everyone that things would be handled. But with the situation spiraling out of control, they can no longer afford to stay quiet. Here's what has happened since.
Like punishment, you know what I'm saying? And then sometimes things gotta happen to make you get back to where you belong at, you know what I'm saying? And
it was supposed to be just another routine night at the office for Gervonta Davis and his team from the moment his showdown with Lamont Roach was announced. Gervonta Davis showed no signs of concern or unease. Roach was a familiar face with a respectable record, and while he did hold a title, he was widely seen as the smaller man in the matchup.
Done 2 days before the fight?
Yeah. I ran water over it today, but...
Viewed as a sizable underdog, Roach fought like a man with something to prove from the opening bell. He boxed beautifully from the outside, using his jab effectively. When Davis forced him to abandon his distance and engage on the inside, Roach adapted seamlessly, holding his ground. By the time the final bell rang, the crowd inside Brooklyn's Barclays Center was left in stunned silence. They had just witnessed 36 minutes of pure warfare, yet uncertainty loomed over the outcome as the judges' scores were being tallied. Team Davis remained patient, but the confidence on their faces slowly faded as the verdict was announced. A majority decision, leaving their man without a definitive victory.
skillful. Both of them want to take certain chances. Some of them take chances, you know what I'm saying? We seen, it was like we was on a boat.
For the first time in his professional career, Gervonta Davis left the ring without an official victory. As he slumped into his chair backstage, disappointment was written all over his team's faces. Barry Hunter, who had stepped into a leading role ahead of Calvin Ford, shook his head in disapproval, convinced that the judges had gotten it wrong. Davis had certainly faced a tough challenge. There was no denying that. But from Hunter's perspective,
Well, both of us back today was that again. Nobody won.
the final rounds had tipped the fight decisively in their favor. We take our hats off to the other side. Hunter told *Isis*, acknowledging Roach's performance. But I thought down the stretch, those last 2 rounds sealed the deal. I thought we pulled it off.
What do you honestly think about this Davis versus Roach fight? Like, for you at 140, do you feel it's like you fighting a smaller guy at 130, 135? What's your thoughts on the...
On the other hand, many believe Davis should have lost the decision outright, with some arguing that referee Steve Willis made a critical mistake by not ruling a knockdown when Davis took a knee in the 9th round. Among those voicing their opinions is former IBF, WBC, and WBO lightweight champion George Kambosos Jr., who has had his fair share of verbal battles with Davis on social media. Speaking in an interview with Fight Hype, Kambosos didn't hold back in his assessment of Davis' performance. He just had a draw and lost a lot of stock. Kambosos said,
and against Lamont Roach, is it a big fight?
I don't want to disrespect Lamont Roach. He's a very skilled fighter, super featherweight.
Wiping sweat from his face after a workout in preparation for his upcoming fight against Dodd Jordan on March 22nd. What does he have to do to rebuild his career since the controversial bout with Roach? Davis has faced a wave of criticism from all corners of the boxing world, with many questioning whether this fight has tarnished his once unshakable reputation.
Own show, he runs his own race, and the fans, like, no matter what, the fans will see, obviously, what the fighter's doing, the fans see what's happening, and,
2 men have since expressed their desire for a rematch, while the New York State Athletic Commission is actively reviewing the pivotal moment in the 9th round. The controversy deepened when the replay system failed, preventing officials from properly assessing whether Davis should have been ruled down. Had the knockdown been officially recorded, Roach would have won the fight by majority decision, securing his status as a 2-division world champion. Instead, Davis retained his title and preserved his unbeaten record, leaving the outcome mired in dispute. Meanwhile, the rivalry between Kambosos and Davis continues to escalate. Their tension first ignited on social media, fueled by a deep-rooted mutual disdain. Davis has shown little respect for Kambosos as a fighter, while Kambosos has been vocal about his belief that Tank's career has been padded with questionable competition.
Starts in the draw, and all you think won.
You know what, honestly, I haven't watched the fight. We had a show that night. I haven't watched the full fight. One thing that's kind of baffling is that it wasn't a knockdown. I mean, look, he wasn't hurt. There's no doubt about that. But if you take a knee in the...
Throughout his career, Gervonta Davis has relied on his athleticism, patience, and devastating punching power to dismantle his opponents. However, on Saturday night, he faced an adversary who refused to be intimidated and absorbed Tank's best shots without suffering any major consequences. While few would question Davis's skill and ability, his bout with Roach exposed potential vulnerabilities in his game. Before Roach's impressive performance, the only other fighter to go the full distance with Davis was Isaac Pitbull Cruz.
To be honest with you, I mean, I think that's a warning. But it's a bit of a bizarre situation. For me, like, there was a lot of people in boxing that were saying that this is a really tough fight. Like, Lamont Roach is a serious fighter. I said it might not be the biggest profile fight, but it's actually quite a tough fight.
Now, all eyes are on Tank's next move to determine whether he is willing to run it back immediately. If a rematch is made, the dynamics of the fight could shift. Roach may enter the ring with greater confidence, but will need to maintain his discipline, while Davis faces an even bigger test, adapting his style to counter Roach more effectively.